something, I don't want to say I witnessed it, but what I will say is a cliche. It's a tale as old as time. But the very specifics are different for each case. In this particular case, we're going to start with a Dungeons and Dragons party. Now, this party consists of the DM and 5 players. We have the fighter, we have the cleric, we have, let's do fighter, cleric, we'll do barbarian, we'll do wizard, and ranger. I'm gonna actually write that down. Wizard, ranger, fighter, cleric, and barbarian. So we have our 5 players, we have our DM, and we have the most epic D&D party. These people have been playing D&D together for 3 years. For 3 years, they've had a consistent weekly schedule, and the party has finally reached level 15. Now, here's the thing about reaching level 15 for this party, is they did all agree at the very beginning that they didn't want to go too high. They wanted to reach level 15, they wanted to have an epic battle and end the campaign. So after 3 long and gruesome and tiresome years, this party, this campaign, is starting to draw to a close. And so at their session, what they plan to be their last session, the DM has prepared a giant battle. They have the big bad who's been there since the very beginning. The DM has been planning this particular big bad since the very beginning. It's an NPC who they met back in session 1 and were too weak to help at the time. Now, this NPC was a few levels higher than them and had come to the party going, hey, I need help. We need help. We need help. Please help us. But the party was level 1 and had other ideas. They were offered a job that was going to get them all the gold that they could need for a while. And so they took that job instead of the one where this poor man needed help. So that poor man decided that he was going to grow. He was going to not only solve his own problem, but then get revenge on the party for abandoning him for money. And this had been planned for 3 years. For 3 years this was planned. And the party got there and they fought. And in the midst of the battle, the fighter got downed. And the cleric was able to bring him back up. The barbarian got taken out and was unconscious, failed 2 death saves, and then a 3rd one, and the cleric brought them back. The wizard was battling, dealing lots and lots of damage, and finally, after a 4-hour session, the party beat their big bad. They had won, and their 3-year campaign ended. And the friends themselves were excited. They were thrilled that they had done it. They had achieved their goal. They had had a 3-year-long campaign that spanned from levels 1 to 15. They had defeated the big bad. But it was also the end of their campaign, and they had agreed that they weren't going to start a new campaign right away. They were going to take some time and just, like one does, these characters, they had been with these characters for 3 years, so to say goodbye after that long, the players had decided that they were going to take a month off. The person who played the wizard said that he figured out, he worked it out with work, he was taking his 2-week vacation from work to go take a trip and just be with himself and recuperate and that sort of thing. The player who played the barbarian was also going on a mini vacation. They were taking about 4 days to go travel somewhere and then come back, like a long weekend, and then they were having a staycation where they were essentially going to be away from technology. The DM was also taking a break, was like, I need hands off. I can't do this right now. So sorry. I need to just, I'm gonna do stuff with these other friends that I've done stuff with, but just like, you guys have been my priority this day. And the only two left were the ranger and the fighter. And now those two, throughout the campaign, the ranger and fighter, they had the two flirt with each other. The ranger, had a crush on the fighter at one point. All consensual. They had talked about it, that sort of thing. But what the two players didn't realize, it didn't click with them, was that while they had been acting this out in the characters, they had slowly began to fall in love with each other as people. And so the two of them were talking and decided that during their normal session the following week, like during that time slot, they were going to just like hang out together. They were going to get dinner and just watch a movie, and just hang out together. And they ended up, in the process, watching a horror movie, because it was the fighter's favorite kind of movie. And the ranger was terrified. And ended up, like, cuddling into them, scared. Like, the movie scared them so much that they, like, curled into them and cuddled into them and just, like, hid their face and was just, like, terrified the entire time. And life continued on. It wasn't until the following week, when they hadn't been talking for a few days. The ranger had gone quiet for a few days, and hadn't been replying to texts, which, wasn't out of the ordinary. They didn't have to constantly text or talk or anything like that. But when the ranger reached out again, it was because they were sick. They texted the fighter and they were like, hey, I'm really sick right now and I need some groceries. I'll pay you back, of course, but would you go to the store and get me some groceries? And of course the fighter said yes. He said yes, and he brought groceries, and he entered the ranger's house, and the ranger was in their bedroom, like, curled up in bed, like, coughing and, like, sick. And just not having a good time. And the fighter took some soup that they had bought and made a pot of soup, and then brought them a bowl, so that they could eat it while they were sick and that sort of thing. And then the fighter offered to stay. The ranger had a spare bedroom, and the fighter was like, hey, I have the next couple days off, like, it's my weekend. Why don't I stay and help take care of you while you're sick? Like, you look awful, no offense. You look awful and look like you could use some help. And so the fighter ended up staying the night in the guest room, and just over the next few days, just like taking care of the ranger and just that sort of thing. And it was during this time that the two realized that, wait, I actually think I'm in love with this person. I think I'm in love with the other person. But neither of them were willing to say it, until the ranger got better and said, hey, as a thank you for your help while I was sick, I really, really would like to take you out to dinner to say thank you. And at the end of the night, they drove together, and at the end of the night, the fighter walked the ranger to their door, and the ranger leaned in and kissed the fighter. And that was when the two of them actually admitted their feelings for each other. And they've been together ever since. The end! How did we like the story? I thought it was cute.